The Prime Minister, Keir Starmer, could be about to lose a vote on his new welfare reforms later today. Dozens of Labour MPs are set to rebel against his proposals to reform sickness benefits. Now, the government want to make it tougher to claim personal independence payments, or PIP, as they're called, and also the health side of universal credit. Nearly a third of working-age adults currently get PIP in parts of England, with more young people than ever now claiming. Campaigners say, though, that the cuts will have devastating effects on the disabled community. It's a very difficult one, Janet, isn't it, to kind of unpick, and so many opinions and so many people desperately need these payments. But do you think reforms should be made, that the benefit system does need, the welfare system does need reforming?
It needs reform from the bottom up. But unfortunately, what's happened now, because the strength of the rebellion, the government has said that anyone claiming PIP at the moment won't be affected. It'll only affect new claimants. So then, rightly, there's been outrage saying it'll be a two-tier system. What was really needed was someone to come in and assess how, you know, what is fit to work, and also that look in depth at the new kind of claimants that have come since COVID, because the big explosion has been in young people and people who say they can't work through anxiety and depression, and those are the two worrying categories. So if all these young people say they're unfit to work, and thousands and thousands, say that they're suffering from anxiety and depression, and the government's going to take away these benefits, obviously it's going to have a terrible impact. But there is, without a doubt, a bill for these benefits that the country just can't afford.
I mean, they're not saying, obviously, that they're going to take it away, but they're saying they are going to
want to means test it, and they want to medically test
But Jane, didn't you say, was it 1,000 people a week?
Yeah, there's currently 1,000 applications a day.
A day?
Just on PIP, monthly PIP awards, this is, since the pandemic, have doubled.
Yeah.
It's 34,000 now. So over the course of a year, that's about, each year, the population of Leicester is applying for disability and sickness. Now, listen, of those 1,000 people, probably a very high percentage are totally genuine and worthy of these payments. But, of course, statistically, there are going to be people who aren't. And it's just completely unsustainable. And as Janet just said, I think it's like 69% of new claimants are now that sort of 16 to 24 age bracket who, post-pandemic, quite understandably, are suffering with anxiety issues. But, you know, a lot of people out there will say the best thing for anxiety and for your mental health is to get out to work.
Not always, Jane, you can't.
Denise
no, I wasn't
Sometimes
saying that.
You can't.
I'm just saying not one size fits all.
No,
but what I'm saying is, I said some of the people would benefit from having some structure to their lives and not becoming dependent on benefits.
And some help.
They need to look at that. They need to look at all the different categories of claimant and focus in on how best to help these new people, specifically the young, in my opinion, because they've left school underqualified. They were isolated for years during COVID. It's had a ghastly effect on their mental health, and we haven't supported them enough.
But that's the problem, where they're saying this is going forward. I know there will be people watching this who say it does need, you know, from the bottom up, because they'll say, we all know that person. You go,
but you're talking about
that
millions
person
of
who's got a bad back. You know, bad back.
And it's
bad back.
And then you see the video of them.
Millions, but then
so it's not easy to restructure something that has millions of people involved in it, and it's just
and it costs money to restructure.
The thing is, it's a vicious sort of circle, because I do understand what you mean, Jane, that there are certain levels of anxiety that I'm afraid COVID made a rod for everyone's back, because they became so isolated. There has been a massive increase in genuine depression, in anxiety amongst young people, partly because because of that, but partly because of the world.
Rolling news,
rolling news, the world. It's a terrifying place if you're online all the time. And they are, and I am online all the time. And you just don't know what to believe, and you can't say anything, and you're terrified of this and terrified of that. You know, we're going to be in nuclear war in a week if you read the Mail online.
You know, so the world is scary.
There is a lot of scary things out there, and there are a lot of people who can't work. But yes, there is a lot of people who need other types of help. The other thing that I've heard people say, and again, I will say it, and I'm talking about illegal migration, not the wonderful migrants we have in this country who support and nurture our society, but we spend £3 to £4 billion a year on supporting illegal immigration. And then we are talking about cutting sickness benefits, and that irks people, a lot of people. And again, that's not to be confused with people who have come here legally. But
also, going back to the young people issue, I mean, I read a story yesterday saying that a very high percentage of the jobs that they would go for are now being taken by AI.
Yeah, I think it's up to 25% of the jobs are unskilled jobs.
Not a great time to be young.
No, and it's a huge subject, as we said. Well, we said the vote's later today, so we will wait and see what happens with that one. Let us know what you think. We'd love to hear from you.